Gosh.
Just checking that.
I'd like to welcome everybody to Beth Israel this morning. We are here to both celebrate and remember the life of your beloved family member, neighbor, friend, Lawrence Boykin of Western Redwood. Lawrence's funeral service is going to be conducted by Rabbi Jonathan Kaplan, who is the spiritual leader of Temple Beth High in Parkland and Coral Springs. I'm going to turn over everything to the rabbi at this point, after I ask everyone to double check your cell phones and make sure they are silent.
Say the Noinat Tan for the Noinat Kach. Yehi Shem and the name of Barak that is given, that is taken away, yet we still have faith and praise God's name. Now, before you begin, I just again remind everyone, please double check your cell phones. Excuse me, make sure they're on silent or off. And those of you that are online, I have muted all of you. I see a couple of people are unmuted right now, so I'm going to remute all of you. And please remain on mute so there's no distractions. I did turn down the volume, but in case it goes up. And the only other request, those of you that are online, if you have your video on, and you're welcome to, at the end, I'm going to ask everyone to stand for the memorial prayer in Kaddish. If you're standing online, that's fine, but just look down to make sure you have something on below your waist before you stand. Because I've seen things these past few years that I just can't get out of my head. So they're all agreeing, I think. Let me just mute everyone again. Spotlight us. There we go. The Noinat Tan, the Noinat Kach, Yehi Shem and the name of Barak that is given, that is taken away. We still have faith and praise God's name. Today we gather as a family, as friends, a neighborhood, extended family, both physically here and online, to honor your beloved Larry, to mourn his passing, of course, but also to celebrate his life, his love that he leaves you, and the incredible legacy that he leaves behind. When we leave this earth, what we leave behind, we really put life in perspective. We all strive to nice things. We love beautiful homes and fancy cars and all the toys and gadgets. They're all guilty of it. That's okay. I like that stuff too, but it's stuff. Think about it. When we move that stuff out of the way, what's really important? It's not the things in our life, it's the people in our lives and the love, the devotion, and the relationships. And in Hebrew, we use the phrase "lador v'dor," which means from generation to generation. Larry and Minnie created a beautiful legacy. 6 children, 11 grandchildren at this point, a couple of great-grandchildren. I have a feeling many more one day. And that's a beautiful legacy. And Minnie, I know 62 years, 62 plus years of marriage. How can I do this? This is what you have around you. And you have to thank God for those 62 years. I know it's so difficult right now, but He's always going to be here. And they're all going to be around you. So we thank God for Larry today. And again, for that love and the legacy that He's behind. So there's an ancient tradition in Hebrew called Kriyah. Kriyah literally means to tear or to rend. And traditionally, the Orthodox actually still will do. They'll tear their clothing as an outward sign of mourning. The cost of clothing in a little bit more liberal society, our rabbis tell us it's permissible to attach a black ribbon, to tear the ribbon as part of the clothing. And the interpretation of Kriyah is that the tear of the ribbon is symbolic of the tear of your heart, the tear of your family circle, and being that outward sign of mourning. I know all of you that are here today mourn as children-in-laws, grandchildren, extended family, nieces and nephews, neighbors, but according to tradition, the only people that would participate would be a surviving spouse, brothers and sisters, and children. So traditionally, children-in-law would not, but grandchildren definitely would not. And each of you, the 5 of you as children, if you notice, have the ribbon on the left side, where mom's ribbon is on the right side, and uncle's ribbon is also on the right side. So that was done for a reason. The left side indicates the unit of parents. So the heart. It shows the bond, the bloodline between the parent and the child. Where again, everyone else will be on the right side. So we tear the ribbon, we say a bracha, it's a blessing. So I'm going to ask those of you with the ribbon to please stand right where you're at. And those of you with the ribbon, repeat after me. Say, Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, Dayan ha-emet, which means we praise you, God, who will be the worst, the judge of truth. Okay. So from the bottom of the rib, all the way from the bottom, you're going to tear it about halfway, or don't tear it all, just tear it in half. You have to help both. Okay, yes. Again, as I said, the traditional interpretation of prayer, the tear of the ribbons, the tear of the heart, the tear of the circle. There's another legend that says that we would bring in the most talented seamstress. The seamstress would try to mend it, sewing it back together, gluing it back together. No matter how talented she was, it'll always be that mark. It'll never be exactly the same. And our rabbis tell us as a life, beloved Larry made that marvel of life. It's changed. They said, Mindy to lose a love of 62 plus years. I know how devoted he was to you. You're your caregiver, your everything. He put you up on this beautiful pedestal. So of course your life has changed, and you lose a father. It doesn't matter age. It doesn't matter illness or not. Dad is a dad. You have one dad. Wow. And to lose, of course, a grandpa. We don't call it. Your life has changed. Each of your lives have changed. A brother, an uncle. But our traditions, again, tell us that we don't all live our life. So in this difficult time, this time of grief, we listen to the voice of our sacred scriptures that brings us the heavenly message of God's nearness. It tells of our kinship with the Creator, and light is in darkness, and joy is in sorrow, and light is in death. The 23rd Psalm. Bismol David, Adonai David, Ovet Zar, and Peace. Al-May, Menachad, sheep, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh my down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters, and restoreth my soul. He guides me in straight paths for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me, thy rock and staff. They comfort me. Thou preparest the table before me in the presence of my enemies. Thus anointed my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life. I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. So our traditions teach us that one of the most important things we can do to honor our loved ones when they pass from this world is to keep their memory alive. In Hebrew say to keep their neshama, the neshama, he was the soul, the spirit. Keep that neshama alive, and we do that through memory. And our traditions teach us that when we're physically here on this earth, that our body is merely a vessel for that neshama, the soul, and the spirit. And we physically pass this earth, whether we're 82, 102, or 22. Our bodies worn out. We committed back to the earth. We know that our neshama, that's what the person is just the body. Our neshama continues to live on. So where's Irish check right here? His neshama lives within the hearts of those he loved. His family. It was all about family. So we keep his memory alive. We keep that neshama alive by continuing to speak about it. You're not going to leave here today and zip your mouth and never speak of him again. If anything, do the opposite. You're going to gather later on as a family. Friends will be together. You'll share memories and stories and probably smile and laugh a lot. Everyone good to us. That's so important. Keep funds out. With all the bunch of grandchildren between them, they all know more than we do as far as technology to make sure that this life journey, all the photos are documented, whether it's scanning or emailing. We have that technology now to make sure that everyone has copies of this life journey. That was a great video montage. It's as simple as putting on a flash drive. You know, not flash drive. Right. So, and making sure that everyone has it. And I know Reese and Lucas are young and they're memory with faith. And I'll charge all of you to keep his memory alive. And they'll grow up and say, my great grandpa my great-grandma, we shared these memories. And God willing, there'll be many Simchas are happy events, and I'm Ashley's engaged to Jeffrey, so they'll be on the way. And there'll be many, many graduations and more weddings and more babies. And we know that Larry won't physically, what should we call his memory? You'll honor him, his memory will never get there, what I'm doing. Such an important phrase of who we are from generation to generation. So we remember Larry today, but more importantly, always remember. So in the rising of the sun, he's going down. In the blowing of the wind and the chill of winter, we remember him. In the rustling of leaves and the beauty of autumn, we remember him. In the beginning of the year, when it ends, we remember Larry. When we're weary and need of strength, we remember him. And when we're lost and sick at heart, we remember him. When we have joys, when we have sympathies we are to share, we remember him. So long as we live, he too shall live. For he is now a part of us as we remember him. So today we gather to say Shalom, goodbye. Goodbye to me is very final. Almost taking the book of a person's life and closing and getting rid of it. So traditionally in Hebrew, we greet someone, we say Shalom. We leave someone, we say Shalom. It's a greeting. But it really translates to peace, not hello, goodbye. And we do know that he is that Shalom. I know it's difficult because he was doing okay. He was sharp at the end. 3 weeks ago, I had Sandy attended a simcha with the family, a wedding. And God willing, many, many more memories that you would have. His neshama. When they say that he was a good neshama, he wasn't a mensch. He had worked hard. The tough business, the bagel business, I can only imagine. Long early mornings, long days. And he worked so hard just to make sure that his family was provided for, that they were together. So that's a good neshama, a good soul bench. To be honored today. Our condolences go to his family, who of course is loved. And to the generations, through Steve and Barb, Ian and Cassie, Faith and Glenn, Jill and Stephen, Hope and Ken. And today remember Irving and blessed them. To the generations, Evan, Rachel, Shane, Marissa, Philip, Matthew, Ashley, and Jeffrey made the residencies with Beyonce. To Taylor and Bryce, Jacob, Brooke, and Brandon, that's what they had on the boy from a few years ago. To the next generation, through Beast, Lucas, through his brothers, Joe and Barbara, from Melbourne and Judy, and their families, the nieces and nephews, and the entire community more today. Today, the family will be eulogized. I didn't know Larry, so today the family wants to honor Larry. So I'm going to invite up, first I'm just going to call out, so we're going to call Faith, Jill, Stephen, Ian, Hope, and Barb in that order. And then I'll come back and bring up the grandchildren speaking. And they come up after one another.
First, thanks everybody for coming today. I'm just trying hard to get through this. My dad was amazing. Dad, where do I miss you? I just can't believe you're not here to tell me how beautiful I am. Even in the hospital, when I stood next to you, you said, "Come here. I gotta whisper something to you." I said, "What's that?" Because you are beautiful. He said, I need beautiful children, 5 beautiful children, beautiful grandchildren, beautiful spouses. You all have beautiful spouses. He says, "I love you very much." In a little whisper, but he could say it. But his one love is my mom. She was his greatest love. He was his only care. And every minute was, just take care of your mom. He said, just take care of mom. He would send us pictures of her all the time. He said, look how beautiful mom is. Isn't she beautiful? And all five of us would go on that text. This was a family text. And we would say, wow, she's gorgeous. Dad, she's beautiful. He said, I know, she is. He was one of the most selfless men I know. You rarely got mad. You rarely complained. That's the problem. You never complained, even if you didn't feel good. Nope, I feel great. You'd be walking down the street tired. Nope, I feel great. No matter how you felt. Your grandchildren were your greatest joys. Each of them made you so proud. They could do absolutely no wrong. Dad, I promised you said to me, please, babe, you know everything, you take care of everything, and share it with everybody. And you know I will honor that. I will continue to make you proud. I wish you were here to see how good I look. Or just tell me one more time. I will sorely miss you forever. Rest in peace, my beloved Dad. I love you so much.
Okay, hi everyone. I'm Jill. I am Pa's favorite daughter. It is with great sadness. And I must give this speech because, number one, he knows I can't talk. But he was not supposed to leave us all so soon. My father was the strong and proudest man who provided for his family because that was all that was important to him. He never let us go without. He was a man of many, many promises, and he did not break them. Even to his last moments, he promised to wait for me to get to Florida. He said, I won't go without you. I will by his side, and I will be with him. I was with him till the end, and I will be with him forever. He kept his promise, he waited, and now I will keep my promise to him, and that was to take care of my mom. I just wish I could sit at the table one more time, Dad, and have a cup of coffee together. I promise I'll drink it every morning for you. Thank you, Dad. Just watch over us. Please come in your dreams.
Hi everyone, I'm Stephen, the middle child. I didn't write a speech because everybody knows here I can't even put into words what a terrific man he was. He did everything for his family. So, everyone knows all of his praise came from me. He told everyone. I was the only child when my father was in the bagel business that continued with him for a long time. Did it for a long time. And when I left it, he left it. And I went into the automotive industry. Guess what? I became my dad's boss. He worked for me at the dealerships. And it was a great relationship. We stayed together every morning. Well, I don't know how long. I said one thing to him when I called him up, and he repeated it back to me. And I just want to say one last time, Dad, what's up? I love you. I will always love you. And I want to thank everybody here for coming and honoring my dad, because he was the best. Hello, everybody. I'm Ian. I'm the son of the doctor. And as Jill said, she's the favorite daughter, but I'm the favorite child. Although actually, Dad really didn't have a favorite child.
Yes, he did.
He loved us all. He loved us all.
It wasn't me.
Wow. Looking at the crowd here, looking at all these people, it shows how loved Dad is. He would be so happy to see everybody here coming and supporting all of the family, all of his children, grandchildren. And Dad loves a big party, so he would be honored that this would be a big party for him. Unfortunately for you all, I am up here speaking, and I do talk a lot. So, this could go on for a little while. You know, everybody says funerals are a time, you know, where we should mourn the loss of a loved one. However, I feel that's not the case. It's more of a celebration of life. And this is a celebration of my dad's life. He's got all of his family, all of his children, friends, everybody here that wants to be here to celebrate. We want no tears, you know, and I'm a big crybaby, so I'm doing everything I can to hold back. But, you know, just everybody being together, everybody having a great time. You know, my dad was a fighter. He fought hard. We were able to get a private room at the hospital for him. We had everybody together. He was absolutely in his glory. All of his children were there, his grandchildren, and it was a party. I mean, you talk about a celebration of life, that was really a celebration of his life. For him to have everybody there all together, it was amazing how alert and awake he was, you know, in his last 24 hours. And he had a great time. He would smile, he would sing. We all sang all of our songs that we grew up with, singing to him. And we even sang his favorite song to Mom. And, you know, even had a little bit of pizza, right? Dad couldn't eat, yet he was supposed to be NPO. Nothing like that. But even there was some pizza and pudding, and he enjoyed it. He really did. You know, I've always looked up to my dad. He taught me so much, and he didn't even realize how much he was teaching me. He just led by example. Like, of course, making sure that we deserve first. You know, that was very, very important to my dad. You know, go to a Chinese buffet and had to go and dessert first. Go get your ice cream first because you're going to fill up on all the other stuff. And you won't have time to go get dessert after. He was one of the hardest workers that I've ever known and taught all of us that excellent work ethic. He would get up at 2 o'clock in the morning, time to make the bagels, right? He was known as the early bird. That was the CD handle, the early bird. So he would get up early, go to work, worked all the time, worked on weekends, did whatever he needed to do to support his family. And he had a big family. Nowadays, it's even unimaginable to have 5 kids. His family was his absolute most important thing to him. Despite what Jill thinks, he didn't have a daddy's girl. He had 3 of them. He would have done anything for his family. He always put family first. Now, my dad did not understand healthcare. I would talk to him all the time about medicine and doctoring and all of these things, and he just never understood. Actually, to be honest, he really didn't like doctors. But he was so proud of me. I would talk to him about business and medicine. It was like a foreign word to him. He never understood the business of medicine. And he taught me something that was so important to me. And we were talking about how in healthcare, as a doctor, you see patients and you get paid to see patients. And it was a very simple concept, right? I mean, everybody understands that. You see a patient, you get paid to see a patient. And that doesn't make any sense. And I said, well, what do you mean it doesn't make sense? You see a patient, you get paid. It's a pretty simple concept. He said, no. He said, what happens if you get sick? What happens if you want to go on vacation? You have to be able to do something so that you can make a living and not rely solely on yourself. And he gave me this advice, and I was able to build a practice using my dad's advice. So he helped me become the successful person that I have become. And I owe that all to him. Of course, I appreciate my dad giving me my good looks. Everybody always says I look just like him. You look at some of his old pictures, it's sometimes striking how much you look alike. And it was even one time, it was really funny because his back was turned towards us, and he's putting the kids in the car, and my wife thought it was me. And she went up behind him and grabbed his butt. And then he turned around with a big smile on his face. And she said, "Oh, I thought you were eating." And it was very funny. Most of all, Dad taught us all about love. He loves his family unconditionally. And he loves my mom more than life itself. He does love his children, but not like he loves Mom. He would do anything for her. But he said to everybody really, that he had to always show her that he was the boss. And he would always get the last word. Yes, dear. Thank you all for letting me babble a little bit. I know it was a little bit long. He's an amazing husband, father, grandfather, and friend, and he will be missed. I love you, Dad. Thank goodness he's done it.
Oh, I am the baby. He made it very clear I was the baby. I had no rules. Didn't matter what I did. Didn't matter what I said. I was the baby. These brothers and sisters of mine were definitely Faith Motherhead. She is the oldest, and she tells us all what to do. Whether we listen, doesn't really matter. But Dad said, if you listen to Faith, she knows. Even though nobody wants to admit it, Jill was the favorite. He made that very clear throughout my life, but I was the baby. Hate to tell both my sisters, but he also told me, Ian, he's a doctor. Hope you're beautiful. So whatever you think, he thought I was beautiful too. But he would say, come here, you're my baby. I got forgotten that I was the baby. Stephen, you were his gray hairs. You were. And I watched all of them come in. As everybody lives where they live, I live with Mom and Dad right here. So I would call my siblings help. Dad needs help. Mom needs help. We need to move furniture. So any little help that Mom and Dad needed, this family ran. They came down. But Ian, he's the doctor. He was, but my mom, he's our doctor. Jill, favorite. But I was the baby. But Dad, you made lots of promises. You were supposed to last forever, right, Mom? Right. Stay. Right. And we love you, and we know that you're at peace now. Thank you, thank you. I'm glad we're gonna all be at peace. We love you, Mom, and you have us. And Dad, I promise you, we will take care of her. She will not be alone. Thank you all for coming. We love you very much. Hi. Really like the outlaw out of that group, but I love that group so very much. I'm Stephen's wife, Barb. I have been absolutely privileged to grow to be part of this family. I had a couple of things I was debating about reading today. After listening to the rabbi's words, he was telling me without knowing it which one I had to read for you guys. And we've already started doing it. We've been talking about Pa for the past few days, the memories and the stories and the siblings growing up and the stories I heard from the grandchildren about their special memories. We're going to continue doing that today, and I'm sure I'm going to hear a whole lot of new stories over the next 2 weeks. So I wanted to share with you a poem I unfortunately had to read before, because I just think it's appropriate, so if you would allow me. It's called The Dash Poem by Linda Ellis. I read of a man who stood to speak at the funeral of a friend. He referred to the dates on the tombstone from the beginning to the end. He noted that first came the date of birth and spoke the following date with tears. But he said what mattered most of all was the dash between those years. For that dash represents all the time that they spent alive on the earth. And now only those who loved them know what that little line is worth. For it matters not how much we own, the cars, the house, the cash. What matters is how we live and love and how we spend our cash. So if you think about this long and hard, are there things you'd like to change? For you never know how much time is left that can still be rearranged. If we could just slow down enough to consider what's true and real, and always try to understand the way other people feel, and be less quick to addict, and be less quick to anger, and show appreciation more, and love the people in our lives like we've never loved them before. If we trust each other with respect, and more often with a smile, remembering this special dash might only last a while. And the last refrain from Dad today. So when your eulogy is being read with your life's actions to rehash, would you be proud to say of the things they'd say about how you spent your dash? So in memory of Dad, think about living that dash to its fullest and touching the lives the way you guys already do. Dad has left such a remarkable group of people, and you touch all the people that you meet with that love that your father has shown you how to give. I love you all. Hi, therapy. I got to love you.
Okay. I think they let you go.
Beautiful work. And I'd like to invite up the grandchildren will be speaking, Evan, Philip, and the Bridget.
I miss you, Pa.
don't even know how to totally describe him. Word that comes to mind is special. He was special. He was my biggest fan. I was just sitting there, and his friend was behind me, and he goes, "Who are you?" And I'm Evan, the guy with the festivals. He goes, "Oh, he always used to talk about your events. He worked for you." It wasn't enough to be our biggest fan. He needed to be a part of it. He did. I remember one of my first events in Long Island, he handed out cups in the middle of the rain, and he wouldn't leave. Nothing was going to stop him from helping his grandson. Even this week, he told us he was going to take all our cups, 5,000 cups. It was going to be delivered to his house. He was going to hold them for us until the event started. But it wasn't just me. He did that for everybody. He worked for Steven. He worked for me. When Ann Hope at the pretzel truck, he was the first person to line up and learn how to make the pretzels. Right? He was special. He needed to be part of it. It wasn't enough to just sit there and witness it. He lived his life experiencing it. I got very fortunate. I moved to Florida because I run a business. And COVID shut the business down in New York and New Jersey. And I didn't know what I was going to do. But I had my family. And what God told me, you have your family, you'll figure it out. So I took my car, went with my sister. We drove 2,000 miles. We didn't know what we were going to do. I stayed at my mom and dad's house. I called Uncle Ian. I said, "Uncle Ian, how do I get a permit? How do I do this?" We spoke every day. We went to different venues. Everybody helped. But because I went to Florida, I got to visit Mammy and Pa a lot more than I could if I was in New York. And I used to go a lot. Not enough, but a lot. And I would drive over. It was the same thing every time. Mammy would come out. "Evan, I like your car. I really like your car. You have a beautiful car." And then she would bring me in. She said, "Go say hi to Pa." Pa would always be in the same spot at the kitchen table. He was sitting there waiting for me. He'd go, "Come here, give me a hug." And he said, I had my seat right across from him. We would have coffee. Endless cups of coffee, right? Mammy, that was your job. We kept bringing the coffee. I had 20 cups of coffee. Cookies too. They were very good. You never knew what was coming out. Coconut shrimp, whatever it was, just to stay longer. But he was really smart. He was really, really smart. He was intelligent. He was a man that I respected. Beyond just talking about the hard work and being there, he was smart. I mean, we would always put on the Fox News. We would talk politics, and Sleepy Joe, and we talked stocks, we talked investing. We were really similar in a lot of ways. Like we saw eye to eye, like say movies, like action movies. But more than anything, he just wanted us there. He would always take, whether it was sitting at the table and having coffee, he would take us to dinner at 2:00. And we had his favorite restaurant. It was I know Uncle Ian mentioned it, but it was the Kingdom Chinese buffet. All you could eat. great deal when you get there before 3. You had the senior coupon, better. Sometimes we went to Ocean's 1. Before 4 o'clock, everything's $5. But more recently, we were going to Lucille's. That's where we go. We went and we had the same thing. We both had half rack, 8-back ribs, 2 sides, and had a Diet Coke. Mandy, you had the same thing too. Most of it went to the birds, but always ordered good dinner. But he was a businessman. He was an entrepreneur, right? We loved talking about business. It was something that, again, we were very similar. And he would tell me, yeah, bagel stores in Long Island, Rockland County, New Orleans, and Florida. And he was a hard worker. Like everybody said, I'd wake up at 2 in the morning, he'd go to work, whatever it was, it didn't matter. Weekends, weekdays, early, it was whatever it was, you gotta make money. He did respect working to make money, but not to make money, but it was always about family. And I remember when I was a little kid, I don't know how old it was, but he had one restaurant. It was called the 19th Hole. It was on a golf course. When we were done golfing, we went to the 19th Hole, which was this restaurant. But what was different about the menu at the 19th Hole? And I was a little kid. You couldn't just order a sandwich. You had to order a Shayna, or an Evan, or a Faith. It was all his children and all his grandchildren were on the menu. Because that's how much he cared about family. Everyone who walked into his store needed to know who his family was. His mother, my grandma Ruth, she worked for him. He always believed, and it's something that I think instilled in all of us, is working together as a family. And at the time, I just remember saying to him, I didn't really understand the lesson that I understand now. I was like, Pa, why am I the tuna fish? Tuna fish. He switched me, I want to be the grilled cheese. And he just said, no. I guess the menu cost a lot of change or something, but I was mad at him. I was like, what? My life. But that's really what he was about. I mean, to the point where family and business intertwined. I mean, family vacations, we all went on them. That's what he lived for, whether it was Bahamas. That was, I think, my first trip. It's a Curacao, the cruises. We all had to match clothes. We were dressed the same. I don't know what that was about. Orlando. We all went to Orlando. That was our last family trip together, I think. And it was in 2021. And it was a tough time in my life because I was running festivals, and like I said earlier, it was shut down during COVID in New York and New Jersey, and I was around family, and it was just a happy time. I mean, we did murder mysteries, and Ashley was the murderer, and he dressed up and he smoked his cigar. He showed us the power of family. And I think it really comes full circle when I think about it. Shortly after that, I started running my first events in Florida. And everyone played a role. Everyone. He was the ticket scanner. That was his job. That's what he told me. He said, don't give away my job. I'm the scanner. I can do it better than anyone. Uncle Stephen came to go scan. He said he scanned more tickets than him. Bryce picked up the ice in his pickup truck. Matt managed the events and yelled at me, and then flies into New York to help me out. And with Philip and Jeffrey would help me carry the fence. Brooke helped make the t-shirts. We like the matching clothes. I was in staff. Dad likes to hand out the touch sometimes and hope that it's enough. But it's just the power of family is what can make us all stick together and do anything. So I love you, Pop. I miss you.
Oh, yeah, thanks. So remember now.
Hello, everyone. Now, I don't know how I'm going to follow up Evan because Evan's always the jokester in the family, so he at least can keep everyone entertained. But Paul is one of the best grandfathers that I have. And I can say that when I came down here to Florida, him and Mammy welcomed me into their house for the first week with open arms. And I would sit with Pop every morning and drink coffee with him. We would just talk about life. And he would tell me, he's like, okay, so you're down here in Florida, you're gonna stay, right? I said, Pop, my contract's only for 3 months, I'm not staying in Florida. And then they renewed me. And Pop was like, so you're ready to stay now? I said, no, I'm not staying. I said, I gotta go back. I said, New York is my home, I will go back eventually. But there's a reason they kept renewing me. I stayed down here in Florida for over a year, and I realized that the distance from New York to Florida for my grandparents did not keep me as close to them as I always wanted to be. I was right around the corner, and I didn't visit as often as I should, but I tried my best to make it there as much as I could. Those last 2 weeks with Pa in the hospital were some of the hardest days that I've spent in a hospital, and I've spent many, many hours in hospitals. I've walked many people through this process, and I could not walk myself through this process. Sure, trying to deal with my family, my mother's side of the family, and my own feelings during all of this was not easy. I worked every day, and I showed up to that hospital after every shift, and I came back before every shift because I could not live with myself to know that Pa was alone at any point in time during the step. Unfortunately, seeing it from the other side is not easy. Pa put up a great fight, and he fought for his family, and he fought for Mammy. He told Mammy I would not go first, and he tried his best to keep his word. He went through everything to try and stay alive. Pa showed me what true love really is. It wasn't until recently when I discussed with my sister about life and about love and Mammy and Pa's relationship that is what is inspirational. The blind love and trust that they had with each other, that no matter what, they knew that they were going to be together forever. And they instilled this bond in their kids. And my mom instilled that bond in us. Me and my sisters know that no matter what, we have each other. And that's why we are all so close to this day. Everyone that's ever interacted with Pa, all they can ever mention is how warm his smile is. Even in his final moments, the nurses, the staff, everybody just said he always was smiling, even in the hardest days that he had. I may not have visited him as often as I would have, but I made sure that every day in that hospital I came there. And some of those days were not easy. There was the first day after he was admitted, right before Paolo got intubated the first time, something told me to show up to that hospital. I was at work, and I knew I was coming back that night, and I knew Paolo was going for a procedure, but something inside me was pulling me to that hospital and said, you need to be here. And I made sure I showed up. That way I was there for him, for Mammy, and all of the family. Pa is an immaculate human being, and he provided for everyone. And I just wish that I can follow in his footsteps and find that love that him and Mammy have.
Hi, Paul. I know most of you were expecting Rachel, but she couldn't be here. I just want to say, in fourth grade, yes, we were in here, and my best friend, her answer to Paul, this was a penny phone. And Paul said to me, that's okay. I'll be your grandpa for the day. And if that doesn't show you the grandpa that he was, I don't know what else will. not gonna talk for too long because I can't talk very well, but I just want to say I brushed my hair today. Well, most of you know why I'm actually up here, but before I get to that, I'm gonna try, in the hopes that I could do it, say a little something. I just want to tell you how much you mean to me. You were the most amazing man I knew. You were kind, passionate, funny, smart, and so giving. You gave all of yourself to your family. There was never a moment we didn't know how much you loved us. The thing I'm gonna miss most is just hearing your voice. I used to call you every day, and I just get, hey, gorgeous! It always made me smile. I always thought you were invincible. Even these last 3 years when you were getting sick, just bounce back. You always bounce back. I knew we wouldn't have forever. That's the curse of being a grandchild. You know that time is finite. I had you for almost 33 years, and I'll have you in my heart forever. Pa, I will never forget the way you would watch me when I sang. You may have thought my voice was a gift, but the real gift was seeing how happy it made you. I will always have those last few songs in the hospital in my heart, and even when you couldn't speak, you just looked at me and said, beautiful. Another one. So I sang another one, and you said, okay, one more. So I sang one more, and I would always sing one more. And I promised you I'd give you one last song. So instead of taking up all my time speaking, I'm gonna sing a song I know you loved. Somewhere over the rainbow, we are. There's a land that belongs once in a life. Somewhere the rainbow shines on, and the dreams that you live to dream to come true. Someday I'll wish upon a star and wake up where the clouds are far behind me, where troubles melt like lemon drops away above the chimney tops. That's where I'll fly. Somewhere the rainbow, birds fly, birds fly over the rainbow. Why has time? If happy little birds fly beyond the rainbow, why, oh, why can't I love you, Pa. I'm gonna miss you so much.
I could just say, wow, what a family. I think Larry is looking down right now. Saying, you did good. You did good. How proud he is. You did good. There's so much to thank God for. Wow. No words for me, but really, I think all of you just said it so beautifully. And the words from the heart and the heart. Our fifth commandment is to honor our mothers and fathers. I've always taken that one step further to honor our grandparents. parents, and all of you did. And whether you stood here or not, each of you have eulogies to hear. What are eulogies? They're memories, they're stories, they're feelings. Whether you stood here or not, cherish them. As many as memory always be for a blessing. So Larry, go your way, for God has called you, go your way. May your righteousness go before you. The glory of God receive you. Rest in peace. Rest in peace. Folks, if you're able to, we ask you to please stand for memorial prayer for all our Lord's time. Say menachonako, akeikat behashkina, bevalok kedushim u'dvarim tizorah, harashia ben Yishma Yitzhak ben Moshe, shehelach le'lamot v'gad ejete menukoto, alama el rahamim atzivei v'tzilomim, v'tzro v'tzrai v'nishmato Adonai, Unahalat Oviadua Pishalom Yishkabah and Amar. Amen. Compassionate God, eternal Spirit of the universe, grant perfect rest in sheltered presence. Beloved Larry, who is empty eternity. O God of mercy, let him find refuge in your eternal presence, and let his soul be bound up in the bond of everlasting life. God is his inheritance, may he rest in peace, we say. Amen. Folks, in your memorial folders that you received as you walked in, you will see the mourner's Kaddish, the Hebrew as well as the transliteration of needed. We will be saying the Kaddish slowly, allowing the family to follow. Yitchadal v'yitchadal shemei rabah. V'yalmat nirbrah pilutei, v'yalmid malkutei. V'chayekon yomekon, v'chayei dekol beit Israel. V'yalav v'zman v'rvit v'mru, amen. Yehei shmei rabah v'barak le'alom omen mayah. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitbamach v'yitbaseh. V'yitbadah v'yitaleh v'yitalav. Shemei v'yitshah v'yitba'ar. L'chelam in kol barakata v'shivata. Tushbachata v'negamota. Damiran v'yalma v'ru. Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya. V'hangolenu yalchol Yisrael v'ru. Amen. Osei shalom v'ramah. Hu yasei shalom. Orleinu yalchol Yisrael v'ru. Amen. So please be seated. So before we conclude the services here today in the chapel, I want to once again take this opportunity to thank all of you that are here, and those of you who are also online. I know your presence, whether it's physically here or through technology, is appreciated by the family. So thank you so much. Following the services today, the family will be returning to their residence in Philip Gazy at 7446 Viale Angelo, in Del Rey Beach. Of course, Philip Gazy will be receiving friends throughout the day today. The actual burial will be taking place up north on next Tuesday. The family will be heading up there. As we conclude, I'd like to share a poem that I hope brings comfort to each of you. And the dash I did have in my library, I had it in my hand. I said, I'm going to go with this one. So it worked out. It says you can shed tears to these gone, or you can smile, you can submit. You can close your eyes and pray to him back. Or you can open your eyes and see all that he has left. Your heart can be empty because you can't see him. Or you can be full of the love that you share. You can turn your back on tomorrow and live yesterday. You can be happy for tomorrow because of yesterday. You can remember him and only that he's gone. Or you can cherish his memory and let it live on. You can cry, close your mind, be empty, and turn your back. You can do what you want. Smile. Open your eyes. love, laugh, and go on. Rest in peace, Larry. Rest in peace. All that are doing.
Ladies and gentlemen, this does conclude the Florida portion of our services for Lawrence Boyd and blessed memory. I'm going to ask everyone, including the family, to please rise at this time. I'd like the family to gather their personal belongings. And it is traditional that the family leave by walking amongst their friends. And to that end, I'm going to ask the family to be the first to leave by walking down the center aisle. And once they pass you by, please follow.
I see David, I see Franny. I'm not showing, but they're not gonna know I'm on. My name didn't come up. We have her either.